So from the Gyanvapi Mosque to the Taj Mahal and now the Bhodshala in Madhya Pradesh, the Hindu side says they want to reclaim their right to worship at temples that they were demolished. On India First, we get you details, the first details of the videography that's been carried out so far and what that video evidence indicates. We will also tell you about a fresh petition that has been filed at the Indore bench of the Madhya Pradesh High Court, where notices have now been issued to the centre and state governments along with the Archaeological Survey of India. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you the latest, but as always, let's get started with the headlines on India First. Supreme Court takes a tough stand on sedition, stays all cases and proceedings in sedition cases, asks the centre and states to not file fresh FIRs till provisions of law are reviewed. Delhi High Court delivers a split verdict on criminalization of marital rape. Two judges failed to agree on a verdict, matter scheduled for hearing in the Supreme Court now. And India Today gets you CCTV images of that moment when the rocket-propelled grenade was launched at the intelligence headquarters at Mohali, Punjab. A Pakistan-manufactured grenade used in the blast nexus with Khalistani terrorists under investigation. Medical students send out an SOS demand, NEET be delayed by 10 days before exam. Cite counselling delays for reason as insufficient preparation time. Jharkhand's mining secretary Pooja Singhal arrested in connection with embezzlement of crores of Manrega funds, charged with irregularities while serving as the district magistrate between 2007 and 2013. And joining me on India First is the petitioner, Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain. Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain, explain the reason for this petition in court.
See, hi Gaurav, we have filed this petition before the Honorable High Court of Madhya Pradesh at Indore. And our petition basically states the facts of the destruction of temple in Bhodshala, Dhar, and we have categorically proved through clinching evidence that there are number of photographs which show and which proves to the hilt that there has been a Hindu temple which has been destroyed, and therefore there is a historical history to this petition, because if you will see, we will find that the Britishers have taken the idol of Ma Saraswati to London. And the idol which was constructed by Raja Bhoj in 1034 AD is still in London Museum. And we have therefore asked the government of India to bring back the idol of Ma Saraswati, which is also known as Vagdevi. And we have also asked for restoration of the temple. And there is one very important factor to this entire aspect, that there has been an order passed by the Archaeological Survey of India on 7th of April 2003.
Okay.
And what is the order? The Archaeological Survey of India on 7th April 2003 has permitted the Hindus on Tuesday to worship there, and they have permitted the Muslims to offer namaz on Fridays. So my problem is this, that this order is in violation of Section 16 of the Archaeological Survey of India Act, because Section 16 of the Archaeological Survey of India Act 1958 clearly says that the religious character of the property has to be determined first, okay, and the Archaeological Survey of India cannot do any action in violation of the religious character.
Okay, so what you're alleging is that the Archaeological Survey of India's actions are illegal, but explain this to us. What is the evidence that a temple existed at the location where Muslims are offering namaz now?
The monument itself is the evidence of my case, because we have proved, we have filed around 40 photographs of Bhodshala where there are mandaps, where there are yagya coops, where there are inscriptions in Sanskrit, and whenever the Muslim sides they go to offer namaz, as per the order of the ASI of 7th April 2003 on every Friday, they try to damage and destroy it. And the further evidence is the affidavit of the Archaeological Survey of India, which we have quoted and said that they themselves have said that there has been the destruction of a temple. And the point in issue is this, that we have proved the history, that how Congress government, how Digvijay Singh has allowed Muslims to go there and offer namaz. And the photographs of the complex itself speaks volumes about our case. And therefore,
What is your current prayer at the Indore bench of the Madhya Pradesh High Court?
see, we have prayed that this order passed by the Archaeological Survey of India, permitting both the parties to offer prayers there, must be quashed. It should be declared that it's a Hindu temple, it's an ancient Hindu temple, and that must be restored. And Hindus should be permitted to offer puja every day, not just on Tuesday. And we have also asked the government of India to bring back the idol of Vagdevi from London to Bhoshala and install it there.
Okay. What is your response to those Advocate Vishnu Shankar Jain who accuse the petitioners, whether at the Gyanvapi Mosque in Kashi or at the Bhodshala here in Madhya Pradesh at Dhar, that the effort is to disturb communal harmony in India by approaching courts seeking right to worship?
Gaurav, I'm so grateful that you have asked me that question. And the point in issue is this, that are these people who are raising an objection on me of raising communal tensions, are they standing with Alauddin Khilji? Are they standing with Akbar? Are they standing with the Aurangzeb? And if they are standing with them, then I think this is an issue of restoration of cultural heritage of India, because it is a fact that you have demolished my temples. You are giving insult to the idols there. And as a believer of my deity, of my God, of my idols, I think it's my fundamental duty to protect the faith. It's my fundamental duty to protect the idol in question. And therefore, there is no question of any communal tension. It's a question of restoration of rich cultural and heritage of India. Okay. And those who are actually, you have asked a very pertinent question, Gaurav. Those who are dealing, who are linking this issue with communalism, you must ask this question to them, that can you ever say on any national television that you can destroy a temple and go and offer prayers there? And if you cannot say, then what's the harm in getting restoration of these temples?
Okay. So you're saying what's the harm in seeking restoration of right to worship at temples that were demolished by kings like Aurangzeb or Kutubuddin Aibak or Alauddin Khilji in some instances? For joining me here, Advocate Vishnu Jain, many thanks. Now, a court in Varanasi is expected to pass an order on the next date of videography at the Gyanvapi Mosque premises. That will happen in about 14 hours from now. India Today now gets you exclusive images of the videography that was carried out so far. Of course, there were hindrances, there were objections, but India Today has accessed images that indicate the presence of Hindu motifs from the Nandi bull, the ride of Lord Shiva, to Sheshnag carved in stone. There are many other Hindu symbols, including the swasti or swastik as some say, and Lord Brahma's lotus and temple bells. Samarth Srivastav in Varanasi brings you this India Today exclusive. Is this evidence of a temple at the Gyanvapi Mosque premises? Proof on camera, a lotus symbol carved on stone, flowers etched in stone, a huge temple bell carved on stone, an idol of Nandi bull, the ride of Lord Shiva, a motif of Sheshnag of Lord Vishnu. Images accessed exclusively by India Today. Now hear the man who carried out the videography at the Gyanvapi Mosque premises speaking exclusively to India Today.
गणेश शर्मा जो थे वो शिलापट पे जो चीजें बनी हुई थी, जो श्रृंखलाएं बनी हुई थी, जो माला की लड़ियां बनी हुई थी तोरण द्वार के, ऐसा महसूस होता था जैसे तोरण द्वार पे जो चीजें कटिंग बनी होती है वो सारी चीजें वहां दिख रही थी. इवन यही नहीं, जो शिलापट वहां रखे गए थे उसके नीचे वाले भाग में नीचे वाले भाग में भी कुछ चीजें ऐसी समझ में आई कि वहां पे भी कुछ बना हुआ है।
The petitioners seeking permission for unhindered access to pray at the premises want the basement to be videographed so that more evidence of the alleged destruction of a Hindu temple for the construction of a mosque comes out in public domain. A Varanasi court is expected to deliver its verdict on Thursday on the videography and on whether the court-appointed commissioner is to continue.
सारी बातों को, सारे पेपर, सारे डॉक्यूमेंट को, सारे प्रपत्रों को माननीय न्यायालय के पटल पर रखा गया और विपक्षी अधिवक्ता एक ही बात पर रिजिड हैं कि किसी प्रकार से ज्ञानवापी मंदिर कथित मस्जिद के अंदर एडवोकेट कमीशन की कार्रवाई न होने पाए और हम उस अधूरी कार्रवाई को पूर्ण करना चाहते हैं।
The court-appointed commissioner insists he's worked with utmost impartiality.
हम केवल यही कह रहे हैं कि मैंने आदेश के पालन में सद्भावपूर्वक, ईमानदारी से और निष्पक्षता से कार्य किया है। आगे आपत्तियां जो हैं वो आती हैं और उनका निस्तारण करना न्यायालय का है।
Ahead of the verdict, political temperature is rising in Uttar Pradesh on the issue of the videography.
ये बीजेपी ने जानबूझ करके समाज में कैसे नफरत फैले उस दिशा में जा रहे हैं और जानबूझ करके लोगों के बीच में और खासकर मुसलमान भाइयों के बीच में डर पैदा हो, इसलिए ये इस तरह के काम कर रही है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के तमाम फैसले हैं जिसमें ये कहा गया है कि पुरानी चीजों से छेड़खानी नहीं हो सकती। क्या उन कानून को भी बीजेपी नहीं मानेगी? और हम तो कोर्ट से अपील और निवेदन कर सकते हैं कि कोई ऐसा काम ना हो, ऐसा फैसला ना हो जिसमें खाई पैदा हो। कुछ लोग इस समाज में बैठे हो जो खाई पैदा करना चाहते हैं।
देखिए, विपक्ष की जहां तक आप बात करते हैं, भाजपा विरोध में कभी भगवान श्री राम का विरोध करते हैं, कभी भगवान भोलेनाथ जी का विरोध करते हैं, कभी भगवान श्री कृष्ण की जन्मभूमि का विरोध करते हैं। अब ज्ञानवापी के अंदर जो कमिश्नर है वो माननीय न्यायालय के आदेश से नियुक्त किया गया है और उसे कमिश्नर का होता है जा करके स्थानीय, मतलब बहुत सारे हर केस में लगभग कमिश्नर नियुक्त होते हैं जो जमीनों के विवाद होते हैं, स्थानों के विवाद होते हैं। तो अगर कमीशन नियुक्त हुआ है, कमिश्नर वहां पर गया है, तो वो अपना फोटोग्राफी करें, जांच करके न्यायालय को रिपोर्ट दें। उसमें कोई व्यवधान डालता है तो गलत है और जो ऐसी गलती करता है फिर उसके खिलाफ जो कानून सम्मत कार्रवाई है वो कार्रवाई भी होगी। बाकी इस प्रकार के विरोध के पीछे मैं ये कह सकता हूं कि समाजवादी पार्टी की साजिश हो सकती है।
All eyes remain on the Varanasi court, which is expected to deliver its order on the next date of videography on Thursday. The petitioners insist evidence will show there is more evidence of temple that existed where the Gyanvapi Mosque now stands. With Samarth Srivastav in Varanasi, Bureau Report, India Today. So from the Gyanvapi petition to a petition on the Taj Mahal to now a petition on the Bhojshala. Is this an attempt to right a historical wrong and reclaim Hindu places of worship? Or is this, as Samajwadi Party's Akhilesh Yadav alleges, an attempt to widen the communal divide, perhaps for electoral gains? Joining me on India First is Nupur Sharma, representing the Bharatiya Janata Party, and Atikur Rahman is a respected Islamic scholar. Atikur Rahman, if Hindus want to reclaim their places of worship legally, approaching courts of law with evidence, why object? Why should some see this as an attempt to widen a communal divide, as Akhilesh Yadav seems to allege?
Very simple, Gaurav. It will be a violation of the 1991 Places of Worship Act. Repeal it, amend it. The parliament is there. Call a special session of the parliament. Modi government is a pro-Hindu government. Everybody knows. Just all the spokesperson claim this. So why to violate a law and cause enmity between the two major communities, Hindus and Muslims? Amend it, repeal it, don't violate a parliamentary act.
Fair enough. Let me get Nupur Sharma to respond to this specific aspect of the Places of Worship Act 1991 that incidentally, as you are well aware, has been challenged in courts of law. But the BJP, Nupur Sharma, is being accused of widening the communal divide and trying to exploit the situation, polarize voters. You heard Akhilesh Yadav who's saying that there is an agenda that the BJP is pursuing.
Well, good evening to you, Gaurav, and to your co-panelists, to my co-panelists and to the viewers as well. I would urge Mr. Rahman actually to read up the law and what it says before coming on television, and basically we misleading the people and the viewers who are watching your show. There is not a single section in the Places of Worship Act 1991 which says that the ASI cannot carry out a survey of buildings especially which are categorized as ancient monuments or archaeological sites. And I challenge him to read the section of the Places of Worship Act which is in direct confrontation with the district courts or the lower court's order in the instant Gyanvapi Mosque case. That's point number one. Point number two, he said that the PM Modi government is a Hindu government. Well, I challenge him again that not a single policy, and I challenge him, be it
pro-Hindu government.
No, you said it's a Hindu government. Please allow me.
Pro-Hindu government. Okay.
Not a single policy. Can he name? Gaurav, he has to stop heckling me.
Pro-Hindu government.
Because he does
One
not
by
know
one.
what
government.
does not mean.
Sir, let Nupur Sharma complete her point. Let Nupur Sharma complete her point and come back to you, sir.
You have to
Don't
moderate.
misquote, but don't misquote.
You have to moderate.
No.
Gaurav, please.
Okay, only Nupur
You
Sharma,
are
please.
misquoting the law and you're challenging me on misquoting your stupidity. Sorry,
Okay,
Gaurav.
let's keep this civil.
I heard the gentleman here misquote the law in India.
This is the civility
You are
we can expect
misrepresenting.
from
You are
her.
misrepresenting the law. Sitting
This
on
is the
national
only
television.
civility
Okay,
which
No,
remains.
and
no
the civility
crosstalk
we
on the
expect
broadcast,
from you
please, one
is
by
to
one.
not to read. Is to not to read. You have to stop him, Gaurav. Then you have to stop him. He can correct me later.
Yep,
If I'm
go on.
wrong, he can correct me later. Most certainly, he can't come up with a section which has been thwarted under the Places of Worship Act. And most certainly, even if he for a second, if I were to believe he said not Hindu government but pro-Hindu government, as if that makes an absolute difference. The fact is he will now not be able to answer my second question. Name one policy of the government which is out there to benefit the public at large, which is predominantly pro-Hindu, or actually decides who to benefit as per religion. Be it Ujjwala, be it Ujala, be it the Awas Vikas Yojana,
Okay.
be it the Ayushman Bharat Yojana, be it the Swachh Bharat Yojana, be it Startup India, be it Made in India,
Okay,
or
but
for that
let's stay
matter,
on
be
the
it the
issue
PM
today.
Garib Kalyan Yojana,
Let's stay on
which
the.
fed over
let's-
84 crore
fair
people.
enough, but I want to stay on the issue today.
And I want
stay
to
on the
answer.
topic.
Gaurav, you have to allow me
No, but I
answer.
cannot.
I want
there
to
cannot be a
say-
monologue. No, Nupur
I
Sharma,
will come to
please
it.
permit me.
Akhilesh,
We have very
you-
restricted time. We have limited
you are-
time. Atikur Rahman,
It can't be a
Atikur Rahman,
monologue
hold on,
when somebody
Nupur
has to
Sharma. My
take
request to you is hold on so that we stay on the substantive issue today.
knows.
Atikur Rahman,
I wish you had
if a
asked- I
temple
wish you
was
had
demolished,
asked
please
Atikur
put
Rahman
Nupur Sharma's audio down, please. Atikur Rahman, if a temple was demolished to construct a mosque, why should a historical wrong not be corrected, especially at the center of religious beliefs, whether it's Mathura or Kashi? These are places of belief and faith for Hindus.
Two important points towards this, Gaurav. Number one is when the Ayodhya matter was going on in the Supreme Court said, we do not have any control over the history, but we do have control over our present. Secondly, when Aurangzeb destroyed, when any of the Mughal rulers or the Delhi Sultanate rulers, they destroyed their temples, there was no constitution in the world. There was no UN Human Rights Charter at that time.
How does
everything.
UN Human Rights
That
Charter
was
or
the imperial
Constitution come in the
expansion
way
age.
of Hindus approaching courts of law seeking right to pray at Mathura and Kashi? These are centers of beliefs of Hindus. No, it's the way Mecca is for Muslims. It's for Hindus. It's Mathura, Kashi, and Ayodhya.
Yeah. I said you earlier, 1991 Places of Worship Act.
Sir, that's been challenged
Do
in
not
a court of
violate
law.
that.
How does
Since
that
2 years
how
the
does that
government is
enable
unable to apply
Muslims
upon it.
or some people to object videography at a place of worship? If you have an
As a
objection, take it
citizen
to a
of
court of
India-
law. How can people stop it? Use brute force. Why should there be Hindu-Muslim
Yeah.
enmity if a temple has to be built?
So we are causing Hindu-Muslim disunity? No. The
By stopping
BJP
videography,
since
what
2
is
years.
happening?
By stopping the videography, we are upholding the law, the Parliamentary Act.
Really?
Since 2 years it has been challenged and the government is unable to opine upon it. Why?
So
They
will
want to
Muslims
keep
decide on the
world
streets or will
falling.
courts of law decide in India? But let me take that to Nupur Sharma. Initially, Nupur Sharma, the focus remained on the Sri Ram temple at Ayodhya, then Kashi and Mathura. Now Bhodshala in Taj Mahal and of course Qutub Minar. Ma'am, what's the agenda? Is the strategy, as Atikur Rahman and some others allege, to constantly keep the country and Muslims on edge?
Oh, really? Gaurav, you want me to answer Muslims are on edge? Do you really want me to speak? Just like now, you chose to put my fader down versus a gentleman who was thoroughly and throughout heckling me when it was my chance to speak. And then the narrative is Muslims are on edge, Darawa Musalman. Fact is, he didn't allow me to speak and you decided to put my fader down when I was
again, you're not answering the question I've asked you. My time is restricted. My request to you is stay on the topic. Please answer the question, ma'am.
It doesn't matter. I will answer. I will say, wow, he can go to the UN Charter, but I need to stay on the topic. I will be schooled because I'm a Hindu. Gaurav, that's the reality in this country. Was there any UN Charter when Aurangzeb and Baba were destroying temples in India? What is this nonsensical argument that Mr. Rahman just gave? And you had no counter. So allow me to answer my way.
No, I am sorry, the viewers will decide for themselves who's being silly
allow
and
me
who's
to
being
now
stupid,
answer.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please.
Allow me to answer.
Yes.
Yeah, no. And you will decide whose fader needs to be put down even though the other person is disturbing. Wow, that's not fair. And most certainly not putting the Muslims on edge, but the Hindus. Because the fact of the matter is that in today's parlance, it would be called criminal trespass. In today's parlance, all these offences committed years earlier would be triable under IPC. But the reality today is, these are private parties who are aggrieved and who are reaching the courts. You know, you had Vishnu Shankar Jain. Yesterday on my debate, he revealed a very interesting fact, which none of us know. That the Kashi Vishwanath issue is a civil matter which was first filed in the year 1936. So all these people coming on television today saying, ekdam se inko kaise yaad aayi? No, that's not true. In fact, even the Ram temple, the Janbhoomi matter was actually filed in the mid-19th century. It was actually filed under a British rule.
Yes.
How many people actually know that? So to come on television today and say that those people who are rightly so asking for a videography, I'll tell you something. You know, tum itna jo Nawaizi heckling me, why do you not put his fader down? Because he is disturbing my flow of thought. Now, you know, Gaurav, I have a simple question to ask of Mr. Rahman and his ilk. If there is nothing to hide, allow the survey to go on. For that matter, you should open the doors of the mosque and say, dekh lo, हमने आपका कुछ नहीं invade किया, हमने आपका कुछ नहीं लूटा. या फिर, are you worried that the fact that Quran says that in case it's a disputed property, in case there is a right that somebody may have a claim on it, you cannot offer namaz on such a land.
I've run out of time on this part of the show, and that is why my guest to both my request to both my guests was stay on the issue because time is restricted. Of course, there'll be a court order tomorrow, and we'll be tracking that story very closely. Atikur Rahman and Nupur Sharma, as always, many thanks for joining me on India First.